Hello there, welcome back to the Miracle Perspective, and this is the TMP Q&A Wednesday, where you ask, and you know what it is, Perspective Eyes. Guys, I got a question from Timothy, and Timothy says, "Hi TMP, I got a very interesting and palatable question I would love to ask, and I need your perspective. I believe it can help the country, so this is for the country. There's this slogan or motto or whatever they call it, which says education is the key to success. What's your perspective regarding that, Booty? I think it's becoming a problem to our country, as it takes about 12 years or more in high school just to get a paper called matric certificate. You fail to get the paper, you're considered as useless and dumb by our society. After completing high school, you then have to go and spend about 4 years or more in varsity in theories with no experience. Other countries like China teach their kids something they can touch and see, and that's the reason a Chinese kid at the age of 15 or less can create a phone and other devices. We are under pressure as South Africans, educated but poor, as we know that there's a lack of jobs problem. We depend on other people from other countries to fix even small things. For example, when our phones mess up, maybe it's a charging point problem. Who do we run to? You all know what the answer is. We run to our African brothers. We run to our brothers from other countries. To my fellow brothers from other countries, please understand me. I'm not xenophobic, and I love you all unconditionally. I just want my question to be understood well. What's your perspective regarding this, TMP? Thank you for that question, Timothy. This is a very important question, man. So, two people decided to help me on this. And the first person was Nontobeko. Nontobeko said, I don't think education in itself is the key. I think the right type of education is the key. Some people don't make it because they didn't receive an education that complements their skills and talents, and therefore they fail. The current education system is an old and outdated system that clearly isn't working. We need to empower the youth with practical skills they can use to even open up businesses, because not everyone belongs to an office. Very important, very important. And then Josephine decided to say, let me add my 2 cents. One should understand that education is a process of acquiring knowledge, and there are ways of acquiring education. Formal education produces white-collar jobs, and it's more systematic. You go to school and get a matric certificate. You go to varsity and get a degree. Then you go to work. Informal education is more practical and less formal or systematic. It produces artisan skills such as plumbing, etc., etc. Back then, the level of education would often determine the kind of jobs or benefits you get. In today's world, it's different, as one has to kind of have formal education and other skill sets in order to be a competitive candidate. The other skill sets are determined by the changing economy. In my opinion, it's equally important to adapt and constantly learn the new skills and whatever is required to solve problems in that area or country. I find it pointless to be comparing ourselves as Africa to countries such as China, that at some point had a rapid rise in technological advancement that had contributed to the high demand of electronic devices. If we as Africa want to be competitive against European countries, we can start by finding ways to exploit the natural resources we have and manufacture them into different products that can be sold internationally. It's like we have knowledge and resources but don't know how to apply it. Very important. Thanks, guys. And now this is my perspective. Remember, I don't give advice, I just offer perspective. And the first thing I'd like to make you aware of is this so-called the Millennial success sequence. And there was a study done to prove whether this is effective or not. And this study found that 97% of millennials that follow this sequence, they are most likely to avoid poverty by their prime young adult years. That's between 28 and 34. The success sequence goes like this. Go to school, get a degree, get a job, and do not get a baby outside of wedlock. And it shows that 97% of the millennials that follow this, they avoid poverty by those ages that I mentioned before. So it works, it really works. I do believe that. But there are certain things that make it not work. And I will go into them right now. Let me just give you a background of me, my case. I went to school for about how many years? All right, I'm talking about tertiary education right now. I did my environmental sciences up to master's level. So I've been in tertiary school, tertiary education for about 9 years, just to bring some perspective. And here I am. I got a job as a business development manager, something I never studied. Then the question is, how relevant was my education? Did I waste my time? Funny enough, I got employed at an environmental consultancy, which at some point had an opportunity for me to work as an environmental scientist, something that I studied for 9 years. And I didn't take it because it was not something I wanted. It wasn't me. I loved business development more than the environmental stuff. So the question is, was it a waste? Did I go up to master's level for nothing? We'll get there. The question of education is the key to success. Is it true or not? I agree. I think it is true. Education is very important. I made a video last year on the relevance of education. I think I said education is useless if, I think you need to go and watch that video. It's very important. Education is really important, and as Josephine said, there's many ways of acquiring education. You don't necessarily need to go to an institution to get education. But the problem is the way the system is set up. It's harder for you to make it with your self-acquired education because you cannot prove it. So these institutions that are put out there, they are made to be a barricade to someone's success or someone's way of getting into the market. Because if you don't have that qualification, then you don't have an opportunity in the corporate world. Something like that. So it becomes difficult in that way. But here's the issue. Education is important. In my case, I didn't go and study. I didn't work. I studied, but I'm not using my education right now. I'm not using what I studied. I'm not using the certificate I got to sustain myself. So the question is, was it important for me? And the answer is yes, it was important. Because the role of education is not to prepare you for the working environment. The role of education is to make you a better you. And that is what we are missing. That is what we don't understand. We think we are going to school to get a job. We think we're going to school to be able to get paid. Meanwhile, it's not the case. If you go there with that mentality, you'll be behind. And that's why when you look at our development, we are behind. Most of us, millennials of today, we are behind because we are following the sequence of studying for a job. And if you're not getting the job that you studied for, you are depressed. And you end up doing unspeakable things like killing yourself. Or you go to work just because now you want money, you're desperate. And when you're there, you're not happy. You're not happy. And many people are stuck in those jobs where they're not happy. And the question is, then what's the point? Should we continue with the system of education or what? I think there's a problem, man, in our community, in our society. Today's society has a problem because the psychology of many millennials, many young people that got this so-called freedom have a problem. And the psychological problem is we have replaced hard work and personal responsibility with sit down and wait for government to give you handouts. And that is the biggest problem. Because now we are waiting and looking at the government to save our lives instead of looking at opportunities. What I was doing when I was in school, I never sat down. I never sat down and say I'm studying, I'm going to school, I'm studying, and when I get a certificate, I will get a job and I'll be successful. Nah, I never did that. I was involved. I became involved in many things at the university. I got exposure. I got exposed to many things. I got exposed to teaching opportunities. I got exposed to tutoring opportunities. I got exposed to societies on campus. I got exposed to many things which opened up my mind. It opened up my world of opportunities. Hence, when I finished studying, I had all this collective of ideas that I can use to build my future into who I am today. That's the issue. Most of the millennials today, they think going to school will save their lives, and that's not the point. Here's the thing. I had a discussion one day with my lecturer at school, and my lecturer told me that the role of university, the purpose of university is not to teach students. The purpose of university is to offer a platform where people can learn. And you're like, wait, what's the difference? What's the difference? The difference is universities are not designed to teach you stuff. What's designed to teach you stuff is your lower grade stuff. Your not lower grade, but your high school, primary, and elementary school. Those are designed to teach you, because at the time you're coming as an empty vessel and you get there. So the assumption behind universities and colleges is that you have learned everything you need to actually shape and position yourself. So by the time you get to university, you know what you want. What a university does, it offers an opportunity for you to now choose what you want to learn and do whatever you want to do with that. That is the role of university. It's not for you to go there and start being spoon-fed again, because now what's the point of the 12 years that you spent at school? But unfortunately, it doesn't happen like that. Why? Because even that 12 years in school is distorted. It's messed up. It's really, really messed up. At that time, the 12 years of school, that's where we should be shaped. And before you finish grade 12, you should already have an idea of what you want to do, where you want to go. And hey, man, the more privileged schools, they have that opportunity. That's why most people that come from those privileged backgrounds, they have it easier to navigate through university, because by that time they know. Some have been exposed to businesses, some have been exposed to their uncles' businesses and fathers' businesses. Now they know when they go to university, they're just adding on a skill that's required on the field. They already have a job. That's the difference between us, the black people, more especially. The system is not teaching us how to self-sustain. That's the problem. The system is not teaching us how to self-sustain, and that's the problem. Because now, what the system teaches us, and I'm talking about the whole system, more especially for the black community, the system teaches you how to maintain the legacy of the white people. The system teaches us how to maintain the legacy of the white people, what they have created. Example. With our protests, there were recent protests, or the protests that we've been having of equality, racism and whatnot. The biggest concern was that black people are not given enough the same opportunities as white people to be in executive positions of companies. My question is, fine. The opportunities are given right now. A considerable amount of black people are employed in executive positions of big companies. But now my question is, you want to be an executive, you want to be in an executive position of whose company? Still the white man that you want to be equal with. So if the idea and the agenda was to pursue equality, to me what makes sense, what makes perfect sense, someone has his own company, he has built it. For me to be equal with this person is not to come underneath and work for him, because you already worked, right? The most perfect thing, the most practical thing that makes sense for me is to build, if we were to build skills of entrepreneurship, where we teach our black people how to create businesses so that they also have an advantage and an opportunity to grow and at least compete on the same level. Now they've got some authority, because here's the thing, the current system, you are just going to work under what already is established. Your chances of doing things to your full and maximum potential are slim, because the system is already set. All you do is maintain what's already there to make it work. So you're not really there's no equality in that sense. And I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm just saying that if the idea is to pursue equality, that is not leading us to that place. But here's the thing. Not everyone is designed to be an entrepreneur. Other people are designed to work, and that's fine. There's no problem with that. There's no problem with that. It's just that the education should offer those opportunities for everyone to decide. As it is, we're not given an opportunity to decide. We just get it's even funny because right now, here's the thing. Entrepreneurial studies are only introduced at university level. Imagine, even at university level. We are already late, man. By that time, in high school already, such opportunities should have been there so that we get to establish ourselves. It's a way of sifting through who are the entrepreneurs in high school, who are the workers in high school. And then by the time they finish high school, they go to position themselves properly. If they want to do business, they already have the skills, they can do that. If they want to go and work, it's okay. Research, it's important. So I think, to give you a perspective on your question, because you wanted to ask what's my perspective, I feel like the system is a bit distorted. It's not serving the purpose, and it's not serving the bigger purpose. And I'm not going to blame the system. There's a lot of things that went into creating the current system that we have. I'm not going to blame it, because the conditions under which these things were created, I think they allowed for this to happen. But for us to just make it, for us to be successful in this new age and new times, things have to be done differently. And who needs to do this? Us, ourselves. And one of the things that is very important, this is deeper, man. It's deeper than it actually sounds. Because it's not really about education on its own. It's not really about education, man. It's really more than just education, because the success rate of kids that come from families where they had fathers is way above those that come from families without fathers. So one of the things that we will need to fix, and I mean this new generation and this new system and this new whatever we are in, this new phase or stage in our lives, unfortunately, it doesn't promote stable families. And unfortunately, that has a ripple effect. It's like a butterfly effect that affects the future generations. Because now, a single mother, and big ups to the single mothers that are making it happen, despite everything that's happening. But it's not enough for a single mother to raise a kid on her own. And here's the thing. Most of the education that should be happening at home is now going to school. Hence, the school is not able to give the education it's supposed to give. Because now it's doing two jobs, two roles. One should be done at home and the other one should be done at school. But those things are not happening. Hey man, there's a lot of things that we need to discuss with regards to this. And my perspective is that yes, the current system is working, but not to that degree. What needs to happen, in my view, is that we need to take responsibility, take personal responsibility for your own life. You're going to school, yeah, but open up your eyes, look at opportunities. Don't focus on what you're studying. Do go to school. It's very important. It's very important. Education is important. It is a key. When you have that education, then you can sift through. You can find yourself. So if you have an opportunity to go to school, go to school. Going to school, it's even easy these days, man. You can do online courses, check Udemy. You can check everything. Online courses, there's a lot. Get education, it will free your life. Man, there's a lot to go into this topic and I'm not going to finish it right now. But for today, I think it's finished.